These days we live in a world where people, they often think that that women in ministry or that people promoting homosexuality is somehow okay and morally acceptable. And we live in a world that tends to teach those things. I'll tell you that I saw today some people that were promoting women in the ministry, and they were promoting certain things that would sort of extend grace to the homosexual community and things of that nature. And when I look at that, and I see that they had referenced some abuses, as it were, or traumas. The proper term is traumas that people had received that were like maybe homosexuals or that had been maybe lesbians who maybe had a lot of turmoil as a result of that. And a lot of it wasn't so much saying that it was right or wrong, but the point in this video here is to talk about church teaching regarding the matter. One of the things that I've learned from Scripture, and this is through diligently studying Scripture to discern what's right in this regard, is that it is the case that people promoting homosexuality is certainly a sin. It's the case too that women are saved through childbearing, just like St. Mary, the Mother of God, bore Jesus and was saved through Christ coming into the world. But St. Mary was not ordained to be a priest. But yet, she filled such a critical role as to bring Christ into the world. And what we can see in that is that women do indeed have a tremendous role to play in the church. And very vital, very vital. But the problem with women being ordained into ministry is that the sacraments are performed in the person of Christ, in persona Christi. And women are just not the same gender. I mean, that's one of the problems as Christ. And there's a lot that you could show Scripture saying about, the role of women and that kind of thing. Getting back to the issue of homosexuality in the church, it's the case that if there are homosexuals and they are in a church, the old phrase there, don't ask, don't tell. There's a lot of wisdom in that. It's better just to leave people to their privacy. To inform what a sin is, if it comes to that, but to leave people at their privacy. To make clear that homosexuality is a sin, to practice it, but to leave people their privacy. I know that in terms of like ordaining homosexual people, if these are celibate people that struggle with those urges, that's understandable. But if we're talking about people that are promoting the lifestyle, then that's where I'd have to say, no, that's not what the church teaches. It doesn't teach promoting those kind of things. Like we're sinners. People have different types of sin. The purpose of the church is to lead people out of sin. I mean, that Jesus purchased us with his own blood, and that's where you see the word ecclesia, meaning church. It's those who Christ had purchased with his own blood. And by purchasing us, that we're made righteous when Christ imputes into us his righteousness and purchases us. I know those are probably maybe two different things there, but there's a sense in which when we look at this and we think about it, we want to be without sin. Ultimately, when we go before God, we want to match all of his expectations of us. We want to be perfect, and we want to be in perfection. And so the point is that we need to work toward that, or we need to hope toward that, or maybe strive toward it. I know that, like I say, different people have different sins. Sometimes, like a person can eat the wrong things and eat a lot of it, maybe overindulge. The purpose here is that someday that would not be the case, that there would be perfection. Sometimes we go through life and maybe a person has a hot temper, so to speak. But the goal here is that they would have perfection, that would go away, and in its place, you would have maybe kindness, humility, that it would be something completely different. The fruits of the Spirit would emerge. That's what the hope is. The hope is that instead of somebody being greedy and lustful for money, that they would be charitable. That the hope is that if a person is a ruthless person that hurts others, that they would instead be kind to others, be merciful, love one another. That we would come to realize who God is, and come to be in his love, and that love to transform us to love others. I know there was a time when I was an atheist. That's likely the worst of sinners for the most part. But I'm not an atheist now. And as an atheist, when I was an atheist, there was just all sorts of hate, and it wasn't something I could easily tell was there even. There was all this hate and all this bitterness, and it was almost like anger and everything else. But it's like, I lived with it all my life, so it's like I didn't even know it was there. But then it was gone, and I truly believed. Then it was like I had no idea I was carrying all that. This rejection of God and rejection of God's love. And so we look at these things. It's important that you receive God's love, and that transforms you. That what happens here a lot of times is people think that a sin is not a sin because they've lost knowledge of God. They've lost knowledge of God because, frankly, He may not be with them. Maybe He is, but maybe they've turned their back on Him. Maybe there are some traumas, and they've just turned away, and now they no longer even know God. And so they can't tell the difference between a sin and righteousness. These are very sad things. So, just want to let you know that, we do need to be welcoming of other people. We need to love each other. But it's the sin that we need to hate. Not the sinner. So, if there's something that we should reject, it's the promotion of sin, especially the promotion of sin over the gospel message, where it actually threatens to drown out the gospel message. That's not right. So anyway, God be blessed, God be praised. Bye for now.